Hey everybody, Ben and Karen here. Welcome to We Go Fishing and welcome to Unsolicited Advice. Okay, in this unsolicited advice, we go on Reddit and we find what Redditors' questions that they have. And so there was a lot of questions that I'd seen, 2 or 3 of them here recently about hooks. And so I want to talk a little bit about hooks. This one simply is asking the difference between a circle hook and an octopus hook. So that's one thing that we can talk about is different types of hooks. The other one was specifically talking about Kale hooks. And they showed a picture of a Kale hook, which looks like this. And they were asking what kind of hook it this and what is it used for. So I thought we could talk just a little bit about hooks, how we use them, why we use different kinds, and things like that. So what's our first hook that we have here? Let's show them.
So I pulled up one of these.
All right.
We call this a treble hook because of the 3 sides.
Yeah. And I don't use them very much anymore. They are common for lures, hard baits and lures. You see them on the ends of them and things like that.
I see them a lot for beginners too.
Beginners, yeah.
Can be easier to hook a fish that way.
Yeah, if you're going for like catfish or even black drum, something like that, a lot of people use them for things like that. They do have multiple prongs, so it's just easier especially for kids to get a hook up on those. And we have used them. I don't use them as much anymore, though.
Typically, I see them on spoons.
Things spoons. Like I said, hard lures, you do tend to see the treble hooks more because the fish comes up and it strikes it. And it has
a better
more of a
chance of a strike.
Right, you're looking for that better chance for a hookup. All right. Second one that we have here is a J hook.
All right, I'll show that
one. You want to show that one? Okay. J hook looks like that. And it's called a J hook because it looks like a J.
It looks like a little J.
Yeah, it looks like a J. There you go. You can see it there. J hooks, again, I don't use them very much anymore. They are used for a lot of times live baits. They're used a lot of fresh water. If you're using for minnows, worms, things like that, they tend to be used more.
I find it can be easier to catch a small fish with a J hook, but they do have a problem.
They do, and you can, because you'll gut hook a lot of fish. They will swallow the whole hook in, and so the chance of you gut hooking a fish, especially and a fish is coming up to swallow the whole thing. They're not just nibbling at it; they're swallowing it.
So they'll eat this whole hook,
and they'll take it all in.
And then it will get caught in there.
Yeah, so I don't use J hooks all that often. When I was a kid, that was pretty much what everybody used was J hooks.
But they've come up with some other ones.
Yeah, and these are the two that are probably most common today. This is a circle hook, and it's called a circle hook because it actually points in towards the shaft of the hook. This one is actually needs to be used if you're fishing for sharks in certain areas. You have to use a circle hook. But the whole concept of a circle hook and why you would use one is a circle hook is about you don't have to actually set the hook. The hook is considered self-setting. So when you see the bite on the fish, you just simply tighten down to reel and you're going to hook into that fish. Red snapper, when we go red snapper fishing, things like that. That's when you use that circle hook.
Now, close to the family of that circle.
And you before you get to the other one, the other thing about circle hooks, the chance of gut hooking a fish is less because they're not swallowing the whole hook.
Which is why regulating circle hooks for certain species is on purpose.
Yeah, they want that. But
this
close,
is
close cousin is this one. And this was the question, some of the Reddit question was, what is this type of hook? And this up top is a Kale hook.
See how it bends in just a little bit more?
K-H-A-L-E, Kale hook. This is the hook that I use. That's a circle hook. That's Kale hook. Kale hooks are the ones that I use the most. I use them under popping corks. I use them for cut bait. I use them for live bait. I use them. That's the hook that I use the most. Now, I will say this. In some states, they are not legal. In some states, they don't want you using them. You can still gut hook a fish with them, but they're a cross between the circle hook and the J hook. They're also called wide gap. Because you can see how wide the gap is between the shaft, and so you can put a bigger chunk of cut bait on there, and you can gut hook. That can happen with those as well, but the chances of it aren't as high as a J hook. And again, you also have the circle hook where the fish, you can just set it and tighten it down, and the fish will get it that way. The biggest thing about hooks, though, is not always the type of hook. A lot of anglers go out there and they use different types of hooks, but they don't know why to use them. The biggest rule of hooks is that you're going to match your hook to the size of your bait. That's the biggest thing.
So live shrimp might be a different hook than if you were using like a mud minnow, for instance, or something like that.
Or if you're using cut menhaden or something like that.
And it's a bigger
chunk, bigger hook. And so you might think, I'm going to match my hook to the size of the fish I'm fishing for. And that's not going to work.
If I was going to put a live shrimp, this is not my hook of choice. I'm not going to be able to hook that in well and really secure.
Probably a number 2
fish.
or number 3/0 Kale hook is going to be your go-to. This is, I think, this is a 5/0 Kale hook. It's a bigger one, but using this for cut bait, things like that, even live mullet, you're going to use a bigger hook. So that's just 4 different types of hooks. Why you use them, what they're used for. All of them have their applications. And I would encourage you to experiment with different hooks and see what works for you. Like I said, for me, for us, for our fishing, we found that Kale hooks do tend to work the best for us, but some people don't like them. They like the circle hooks because of the idea of not gut hooking.
And for us, it was the experience on how many hookups we lost. Like how many times did the fish come off the hook and seem like they were more secure on a Kale hook than a circle hook.
Yeah, so we were just having better success with that. Also, we fish with our kids quite a bit, and so that gives them a greater chance of hooking up as well. So hopefully that helps you as you're thinking about hooks, thinking about hook selection. Again, the number 1 rule of hooks, match your hook to the size of bait that you're going to be using. That'll really help you. And we'll have to get into one of these times about knot tying, because different types of knots will also help your hookup ratio. Using different knots with different hooks will also help your hookup ratio. We'll save that for a future video.
And until next time,
may you always catch your limit.